Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. The first episode of the podcast. How you feeling, SL?
I feel good. It's been a long time coming, but we finally here.
Guys, we just want you all to vibe with us, man.
Yeah, I like the track. It's cool.
We giving you all about a minute of this.
We here, Manny. We here. Mm-hmm.
Finally.
Mm-hmm. Man, I remember when we first started talking about this podcast, we were like, what are we going to call it? And I saying, Manny, we can call it a podcast. Mm-hmm. And there was it was no obligation, not an obligation. It was no objection at all. It was like, that's what we going with.
Yeah, man. I like the name. You know, Bahamians could relate to it. You know
I think people all around the world can relate to it.
Yeah.
But especially Bahamians, because that's part of our slang. Like, I was taught the term maybe like 4 years ago.
Wow.
And I was told that if you walking down the street and you see a gentleman, and you know, most times, even if you don't know the dude, you will acknowledge each other.
Right.
So I was told that even if you don't know the gentleman or the person, you say, and he'll say it.
Yeah.
He'll say it back.
No, that's fine.
And the first time I did that was when I walked into a medical office, and the security guard opened the door, and I said, and he and I didn't know him, so he looked back and he said, right back, and he said, like, oh, this work. Okay, cool.
It's universal.
It's
universal. So y'all can hear a lot of And here, how I learned about the is almost like a form of agreement, eh?
Right.
So when people say something, you go ahead and say,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's a vibe. You know what I mean? Or people use it when they like shock to hear something like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Bahamians have all types of slangs for like the way they sound. You know, the pitch will tell you what they actually mean.
You can use the word multiple ways to express multiple things, whether it's a person, whether you're talking about an object or a product. But in this case, we decided to take it even further. We're going to talk about this creative life that we are involved in, right?
You hear all that sighing just now, right? But anyways, guys, welcome to the podcast. We just give you all a little introduction of the And this podcast is made for creatives. We want to focus on education. We want to focus on giving people awareness on the client perspective, and even us as the creatives, the way we see things, the language, the things you say, the things what you shouldn't say, how you approach it in every way. And I look at the creative industry, and I usually say this a lot, and I mean it, that we are the only store people go in and tell us what they want to pay for the item that we, you know, people don't do that for any other store. You know, they go there, if they see a can of soup for $2, they be like, I ain't buying that. Then they leave and go and buy it somewhere else where they can afford it.
Right.
But sometimes people come into the creative industry and they put a price on the thing. But hey, we don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. This episode would be with me and SL introducing ourselves.
A lot of people don't know this side of us. They don't know us at all.
Especially you.
They know
you don't talk on this on no stuff, you know?
Yeah, you're pulling a different side out of me, but you know, it's a different platform. It's a new way to educate, like you said, and express ourselves when it comes to different things regarding the work that we do.
Right.
And I feel like it's important from both the client side and the creative side to understand the right way and the wrong way of engaging a creative offering a particular type of service to a client. And I think a lot of creatives will relate to what we're talking about.
Correct.
But yeah, I think this is new. This is a new platform for both of us.
Yeah, man. So it's unscripted, SL. That'll be your camera. It's my camera where we will say something to the audience.
Right,
yeah, that's your camera.
Nice. That's your camera right
This is
there.
my camera where we want to say something to the audience, and this middle camera. So with that being said, so I'll let you take the floor first, SL. Introducing yourself to the people in full.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
talking about everything.
Oh, you know, I don't like talking about myself.
Drizzy Drake. Let everybody introduce themselves.
You love people calling me the Drake of the Bahamas. I'm not the Drake of the Bahamas, bro. I'm just Shrek. A random plug from our voice talent, Tariq. Where do I start, man? My name's Sherrod Lightborn. Most people call me SL. That's where it comes from, my first and last initial. I've been a photographer for about almost 20 years now.
Gee.
Damn. I knew you was going to do that. I know you was going to do You pull a Kevin out on me. You pull a Kevin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Continue.
I didn't mean it like that.
Yes, you did mean it like that. But, yeah, no, I've been a photographer for almost 2 decades. And I wasn't always a photographer. I have come from a graphic design background. I went to school for graphic design. I went to SCAD, formerly known as the Savannah College of Art and Design. It's big time now. It was a relatively good school when I attended. There were a few Bahamians there, maybe 10 of us. But now the school has grown so much to multiple campuses, and now you have like a multitude of Bahamians that attend the school because it's one of the top schools in the world, I would say, for people who want to get into a creative career. Film, photography, design, sculpting, animation, dance, music, all of the creative careers. SCAD is one of the top schools that you can go to. So I was afforded an opportunity to go to skip Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah. Now there's a campus like Atlanta, France, all over the place. So I studied graphic design there for about 4 years. And when I graduated, it was the year after 9/11. And
wow, tough time.
The Gulf War was still going on. And so Bush was the president, the son Bush. And so he had put a stop to all visas, all work visas, all, I think the visa is called, it's called an O something, O1 or O something like that. Anyway, he put a stop to all of that. So I was in Savannah, just kind of coasting, you know, and all my friends had moved back to their respective cities and state and found jobs right away. And my dad was like, look, you got to come home because, you know, you're just sitting there, you're not making any money. You've got this degree now, you need to put it to use. And so I came home, sent my resume out, got hits immediately, started working for a small company. They were called CopyMax at the time, and I ran the art department. So basically, I did flyers and booklets and boring stuff. And, you know, I was there for about 2 years. I made some good money. Then I got a call from a company that I had originally sent my resume out to. They were a bigger firm. They were specifically focused on marketing.
Over here?
And it was an ad agency. It was a real ad agency. And so I got a call from them. They wanted someone with a particular skill set to run their art department. Right. And so this was a department where all of the promotional, graphic, visual work would come out of. And it was a group of young people that ran the department, and they wanted somebody with experience and with a college degree to run it. And was super excited, felt like it was my dream job, jumped into that, made really good money right away. But again, that corporate structured life kind of took a toll on me. You know, I felt like, you know, I'm here, I'm making great money, but I felt like, okay, what can I do? I don't want this to be my life. I don't want to be working for somebody for the rest of my life. And I was still living at home with my parents at the time. And I remember a gentleman who had worked there was a photographer. And he would go out and shoot all these cool people, shoot all these cool things. And then I met a gentleman who had worked there that I'd known Foreno, F. Dot.
Yeah.
And in college, I did this crazy project where I used photography and fashion to create a fashion line. And funny story, my really good friend in college, her name's Jackie. Her name was, well, we're still friends. And Jackie and I had a pact in college that we would always make sure we take classes together. So we would always have somebody for support in a class, whether it's easy or hard.
That's solid.
And so one semester, it was like our junior year in college, and we had a choice to pick an elective, our last elective, and it was either photography or web design. And I wanted to do web design.
Of course.
We
Yeah.
we had already done an intro to web design before, but this was like an advanced
Something
class.
deeper, right?
And I'm like, man, let's do that. And she was like, no, let's do photography. And I was like, no, let's do web. And she's like, okay, let's rock paper scissors for it. This is like the future of my life, right?
Wow.
And so we rock paper scissors for it. She ended up winning, so I had to pick photography. Took the class, failed the first 3 assignments. Almost dropped the class, and she convinced me, no, stick through it. You got it. You just talk to the lecturer. Spoke to the lecturer, and she said, you know, your concepts are good, but your application is bad. So you need to focus more on the application, and your concepts will follow.
How you took that, though?
And it was really, at the time, I really wanted to drop the class. I met with the lecturer to drop the class because I didn't want it to affect my GPA. Because my dad told me, the first C you bring home, the first 2 point anything you bring home, you bring yourself home with it.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't want to come home.
No money.
No, I don't want to come home at all. And so I met with the lecturer to drop the class. And she said, no, your concepts are good, but your application is weak. So take that focus, put it to your application, learning how to properly expose. We learned photography on film cameras.
Yeah.
So learning how to properly expose, learning how to properly frame, and develop your film, and that's what I had to switch my mindset. Mm-hmm. So once I did that, everything else just came. And I ended up not dropping the class, ended up passing the class, but crazy, I got an A in the class. Fast forward to now, met this guy named Ferreno. Ferreno was a photographer who was doing things that were outside the studio. You know, like back in the day, everyone thought Mr. Photo. Everything was Mr. Photo.
Magic Photo.
You know, you get your keychain, you put it on your
that was the thing.
backpack.
Keychain.
What?
And
the blue background with the stars going past and the pillar. You know. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the pose.
That's the pose. So Ferreno was doing things outside the studio, and I always thought his work was really cool. And one day he hit me up and he said, yo, do you want to shoot this girl? And I'm like, okay, sure. He said, I'm not going to be on the island. I know you're interested in photography. Do you want to shoot her? And I said, yeah, Manny, we planned this whole shoot. 3 days of shooting. I was a rookie. I was green. 3 days of work, 3 full days of work.
Wow.
We must have done like 10 outfits on the beach, inside, outside. It was crazy. So back then, the social media platform
big, right?
Wasn't big. The only thing we had was High Five and MSN.
Oh,
Messenger.
that was the stuff.
And so she had a High Five profile. She posted her picture. One of her friends saw the work. Oh my God, who shot these? These are so different. These are so crazy. You shooting?
Because it's outside, right?
Yeah, you shooting in the bush? I didn't think you could take pictures in the bush. And so, so her friend saw it. Her friend paid me to shoot her. I shot her friend. High Five. One of her friends saw it. I shot her friend. And so it became a chain reaction. Like once I shot somebody that saw somebody else that I'd shot, they would contact me to shoot them. And I always had these crazy concepts and these crazy ideas, and I always wanted to keep pushing.
Right.
And next thing I know, I have a story in the newspaper. Kalik called me to do the Kalik swimsuit calendar. I mean, it was crazy the way that it blew up because there was nobody else doing this sort of work at this level outside of me and Ferreno.
Right.
And, you know, it got to the point where I wanted to do that more than work for somebody. And I remember sitting down with my parents and I said, I want to quit my job because I want to do photography full time.
Boy.
And
let me adjust for this one.
I mean, it was a pretty interesting conversation because my dad is very militant, very straight-edged, very A to B. Like, how do you get from one point to the next? There's no gray. It's only black and white. And so his perspective was, how are you going to take care of yourself? I'm not sure that's a career that could sustain itself. You're going to have bills. You're going to move out. You're going to have a mortgage. You're going to buy a car at some point. You're gonna need to take like groceries.
Stability. He wants you to have stability.
He wanted stability, and my mom is supportive of my dad very much. She's old school, so she doesn't overstep, right? And she's supportive in the way that she can support the things that my dad says or push him in a way that they come to some sort of common ground.
Oh, like that?
But Manny just ain't that type of show.
Oh, okay, yeah, creative.
Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused.
Okay.
My mom was an entrepreneur for a while. She studied nursing. She did that for a while. Then she got into social work. She did that for a while, and then she opened up early development center, and she ran that for about 2 or 3 decades, and 2 decades, and so she understood where I was coming from a bit more, and she's the one that's like, follow your dreams, spread your wings, fly, blah, blah. But she, again, as a mother, was concerned, we just want you to be able to take care of yourself. You're going to take on a family at some point. You're going to need something that's going to be a steady stream of income for you. And at that time, photography was not seen as a steady form of income.
No form of like big creative stuff unless
people
you work
always
in
looked at
or
it,
something.
People always looked at it as a hobby. And so at the end of the day, they supported my decision. I quit my job, started doing photography full time, and never looked back. So that's a little bit of my backstory.
Boy, I hope you all listen to that because I also alone to the talking thing like that.
I just stay in my lane and I try to work hard, and that's all I really care about. But I think it's important to know where you come from,
right?
Because that is always the catalyst for where you're going. It's more so about the journey for me than the destination, because I've always seen myself grow as a photographer and grow as a creative and grow to the point where I feel like I'm in a position to influence others around me. From when Ferrano and I were doing it to now, the photography industry has blown up.
Yeah, it's saturated.
It's super saturated, super competitive. It went from like 3 or 4 guys to now 100, 200 easily on this little island. But at the end of the day, like I tell you, my motto is I just stay in my lane and I work hard, and that's what I try to do.
It's funny how it's the first time I heard, but the best friend you had stateside. It's funny how God literally steer you in a way, because you would have never do no photography, right?
Never.
You stick into the graphic design, the web work, and all that. But then she just beat you in the rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, of all things, right? Of all things, I'm like, this is gonna change the course of my life forever, and I'm here playing games.
Wow.
But yeah, man, that's a little bit about where I've come from. What about you? I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people know you, but a lot of people don't know where you've come from.
Right.
I know you've had like multiple jobs, multiple positions, but now you're like Mr. True Vision.
Yeah, man. Well, mine's short. My
I just wanted to press that.
Listen, he can be pressed that all day. Pick up the tie. Well, with me, my life started with being a track athlete. You know what I mean? I love sport.
Mm-hmm.
I would say because I had a choice. Back then, we used to chase chicken. And literally chasing them chickens so we could eat. Like, what?
I know.
The ghetto, the slums.
Yeah.
So, mommy used to tell us, hey, go get one chicken.
Yeah.
And we had to go hunting. Me and my older brother, we used to corner the chicken, and them dudes fast. Wherever they neck go, they body going.
Yeah.
So I end up getting fast chasing chickens. And one day my friend Junior, I'll never forget him. He was like, man, you should run. I was like, I can't run. You chasing food. You never think of competitive stuff. Right. I was like, I can't run. And he's like, just try it. And one day we had like, them in school type of, not no national thing. It's just in school competitive racing on the field, PE and stuff. And boy, I just was winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know I was that fast. And I told one of my teachers at the time when I went to CI, Mr. Johnson, he was a photographer. He used to do all-time natural photography with birds and stuff like that. I was like, man, I want to go to film school. Like, that's my goal. So he's like, use your legs.
Mm.
I was like, what are you talking
What?
about? Use my legs.
Use your legs.
Get a scholarship.
Yeah.
When he said that, like I go on full blown. Listen, I gonna beat everyone in racing.
Yeah.
So in 2006, I became one of the fastest boy in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
The other person who was very fast, I know if a lot of people remember him, but Warren Fraser.
Mm.
He was a dog. That dude was good, but he was under me, so we could have never raced. So
Right.
I never worried about him beating me
Mm-hmm.
because we couldn't run together.
Racing the same events.
But what crushed me was when I actually got, like, you know what I mean, a scholarship. But what messed me up, because I was Haitian descent, I had to wait until I was 18 to get a passport.
Wow.
So they didn't want no OLED in college.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So what I did, I went back to Mr. Johnson. We used to call him Mr. Indeed, because that's all he say. Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Indeed.
Keep it honorable, like a Muslim or something. So I told him, you know, my scholarship way ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually quit track.
Wow.
Everyone was mad at me.
Wow.
Everyone was mad at me. It was like, you're so fast, you're so talented, this and that and all that. Mike Sands, who was the president of the B3S at the time, was like, man, you can make sure you straight and all that. But yeah, none of that ended up happening. I ended up quitting. And I watched my friends go away. And that was sad. Cache, I watched her went away from Speed Dynamics. Our coach Claire, he ended up going to teach at Georgia, I think.
Mm.
It was one who named Q, a girl. She was fast. So all of us was talented, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, all of them had their passports.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
when I called New York Film Academy, and they was like, "Oh, we don't do sports scholarship." I didn't know how it go.
Right.
We straight up money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this film. You don't learn maths here. You don't
Right.
learn English. You learn film.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what's the price? You know, back then they say $60K, and that ain't living.
That's just
That's
tuition.
You know what I mean? That's
right.
tuition. That ain't living. And I was like, $60K, but I didn't know what that money looked like. It was
Yeah.
$60K. So from then I quit. I quit
quit track.
I quit track.
Yeah.
Yeah, quit track. Quit even thinking about film. I go and work in the warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw the first car came past our back then John Bull Business Center. They used to pick up their employees.
Right.
I saw one of the trucks pass the house, and I just jumped on.
Okay.
No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
All them they thought, you know,
You
if this
just-
dude would do it, if this dude jump on this
You
truck,
just
he
jump
would.
on a. You just randomly jumped on a truck.
Jump on the truck, and we started working. And when it was payday, the manager at the time named Huey, he's looking for everyone paper and paying them. He used to pay cash in the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
He trying to find why you don't get your money. What's your name, Emmanuel? You looking? It's like, I don't see your name. Who you is? So everyone looking around like, you know.
Yeah.
I said, he's a waker, sir. Hold on, none of y'all know him? No, we thought he was working here for a week, and none of y'all know it. Yeah, I was waiting for a week. You know what I mean? But I couldn't tell them that my brother was there also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't tell them that because my brother was working there, and I didn't want to get him in trouble.
Right.
So yeah, he's like, boss, you hired. So that's how I got my first job.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
he said, you
wow.
crazy.
Wow.
That's
wow.
how I got my first job.
Just like that, jumping on the back of a truck
Just like
randomly.
that. And then I see like Cable Bahamas and all that. They start doing like commercials and stuff. I was like, people doing this over here?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you never used to see it like
No.
that. You know what I mean?
No.
The only commercial I could remember that stuck with me, I don't know if you remember this, about Epic Battery. Homeboy was giving the other girl a jump, and his wife was like, why are you giving her a jump? And he was like, woman, you too big it in, you
I remember
This is
that.
an old
I remember
commercial.
I remember it.
Yeah,
I remember
but-
that commercial.
And I heard it was Bahamian voices. You know what I
Right,
mean? I was
right,
like,
right.
hold on, they shoot that hair, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And from then I would like the drive came again. But me, I went to scared. I went to YouTube University. But
But I mean, you can't fault YouTube because
What?
I've learned a lot of
Bro.
stuff on YouTube.
bro, listen, dude, I work with National Geographic. I work with Disney. You know what I mean? I work with Food
Sony.
Network. I work with Sony. I
Yeah.
work. Well, you know what I mean? So a lot of people don't know that. No, a lot of people, man, you still going like we
Yeah.
used to work with most of our clients. You know, we international.
Right.
So people, payments of some whatever issue, not respecting their own
Until somebody else recognizes
recognize
you.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So YouTube taught me everything I
Yeah.
needed to know.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Like the two backgrounds are like completely opposite, but yet we somehow found a way into each other's lives, and now where we run a business together.
Right. Now that's the story I really want to get into.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how we get meeting each other and all that good stuff. Because you was a photographer. Back then I didn't wanna I couldn't stand photographers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Why? What?
Because they always get in the way.
Oh, so we can have this talk about for the videographers and photographers now? That's a whole other show, Manny. We can't. No, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Y'all always getting in our way.
But
okay?
when I was introduced to you, well, that's when you told me.
I remember, like, hey, Sherrod, this is Emmanuel, and I turn around, like,
That was it. That was the interaction. And everything.
that was it.
And listen to me. I didn't fault that because at that time, I said I don't wanna because I knew what your name. You know what I mean? Like I heard it like SL Sherrod and all that, but I couldn't find a way to add value to you. So I was like, I don't want to approach you. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I need to find a way to add value. And then one mysterious day, you randomly asked, hey, you can shoot BTS? If you shoot BTS
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? I can help you with the branding.
Okay. I do.
I
do.
was like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if I can shoot BTS. Listen to me, True Vision was made from BTS, buddy. I used to make BTS look like a movie.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And that was my goal, like to help others. Like True Vision was never a company was made for itself. You know what I mean? It was to bring your vision to life.
life.
So any opportunity I had, I remember one time Jiggy gave me an opportunity to think with him, and Jiggy was like, bro, this here BTS?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's when we did the shoot with KJ at the stadium.
Cage, yeah, you know what I
we
mean?
shot him at the stadium, and that was
And even before that, the first time I hook up with Jiggy because I was like, no man, this dude up there, he ain't gonna give me a chance. And
Right.
when I called him, he was like, come, like,
Yeah.
like sometimes you overthink it.
Yeah, I know.
But he was like, come, and we did the song with the Duchess, Sasha the
Yeah,
Duchess.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, come, and I did the BTS with him. And he's like, no, bro, I gotta pay you. Money was far from my mind.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean?
You
like
just wanted to learn.
I wanted to
and be in that
learn. You know what I mean?
environment.
This dude have a red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
back then, you know what I mean? If you have a red, you was it.
The daddy.
Yeah, I don't need to know nothing but exposure. I don't know what is ISO.
Yeah.
This dude holding a red.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was just like, come, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And the coolest person, you know what I mean? So BTS is how me and you
Right,
end up
right.
getting, you know,
Because Jiggy
close.
did the video for KJ, and I guess he had asked you to be on set, and that was a great day. I mean, everybody was working and doing their
Vibing.
thing and vibing,
And that's when you called Jiggy, switch to Apple.
and that's I know, right? Jiggy had a Alcatel. What do you had?
No. He had the Pixel.
He had a Google Pixel, and I said, "Bro, what kind of phone is that?" And he was
He was so happy about his
he
Pixel.
was so proud of his Pixel. And
I was
like,
proud of
"Kyle,
him too
no."
because I was an Android guy.
Right. I said, Kyle, no, man, no, please.
Y'all, please don't let SL.
We can't start talking about Apple because that would that's a whole different segment. That's a whole
Right.
different segment. But he's an Apple user to this day, so I'm proud of him for making the switch. But so both of us have had creative journeys, right? Creative journeys where we have been introduced to each other. We've worked together on set. You've worked for me as well. And now we run a company for creatives.
Right.
We run a studio,
Right.
a production studio. And I remember when even how that came to be was that's a whole other. But everything is so interesting in the way life works and the way people find their ways into your life to make it better.
Right.
And I remember I was at another space and they told I was gifted this space, and so I knew it was temporary. And so it came to a point where they were starting to move into opening up the space. And so my time had come to an end. And they said, we'll give you 1 more month to be here. so that you can transition into like another space. And I'd been there for like almost 2 years. I got into space right in the pandemic, like right in the middle of the pandemic. And I remember it went from a month to like one day the building manager was like, we need you out by Monday. And it was probably Tuesday of that following week. And I said, what? How do we go from a month to like a couple days? And I was stressing myself out, like, oh my, there's no way I'm gonna find a spot to open up in time for me to, I was the principal breadwinner of my household. And I was so stressed out, I remember, and the wife was like, why don't you just ask Manny and y'all should probably look for a spot together? Because I don't know how she knew to tell me to ask you, but you were like, SL, I had this idea in my head a long time, right? And everybody that I talked to about it told me, yeah, let's do it. But they all fizzled away.
Yeah.
Right? And so when I came to you and I was like, Manny, I'm in a situation, I got to find a space. So to save money, do you want to run your business out of the same space? We could do photography, we could do video, we could have editing stations. And you was like, SL, stop. I already have this idea in my head. I mean, you told me, I was like, let's do it. I literally said, let's do it. And that was it. We didn't need to have no back and forth. We started looking immediately for spaces together. I don't know if you remember. It wasn't that long ago.
No, man. We said let's do it, it took 6 months.
Yeah.
In the pandemic.
You're right.
The thing is too, like the part of the story what we don't talk about like that is when you had the studio and I say, hey, I asked you the question, hey, do you want to hold the camera for the rest of your life? And you was like, yeah, I like doing it. In my mind, I was like, no, you want the partner for me.
Wow.
I didn't tell you that. You know what I mean? And then 2 weeks later, you say, Manny, I was thinking about what you asked, right? No, but I want to chill with my wife and watch Riley grow up, and we was getting off.
Yeah.
And I was like, sit down, let me talk to you. And then that's when I showed him all of the plans of the business plan I had from 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years ago. I said, if you trust me, we could get this thing done. And I was like, boy, we can need some money. I said, don't worry about the money. As Emmanuel say, money follow ideas. And boom. Like
we went from zero to
boy.
How much money did we raise? 70?
70 or 60, something like that.
We went from 0 to 70 like that.
Yeah, and our goal, and now I understand when people say if you reach for the stars, you might land on the clouds. You know what I mean? Because we wanted to go 0 to 100 like Drake.
Right. We wanted 100. we to do it at the level we wanted to do it at.
Like to kick it off.
We were like, man, we need 100K to do this.
But we kept everything silent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We didn't want to jinx nothing.
Yeah.
And then when free and pop up, people was like,
what? What happened here? Where did y'all do this, bro?
But we had some headaches though.
Yeah.
Especially
it was not
COVID.
easy. It was not easy.
God.
But from construction to bringing in all of our equipment, bringing in all of our gear, building stuff for the space, specifically for the space. It was not easy.
No.
It was not easy.
But listen to me. Like you say, you learn that life is about the journey and not the destination.
Because we don't think about all of the hardships we went through to get to this point.
Yeah.
Now we have the space.
We trying to build more.
Trying to build more. And it's been, for me, I know it's helped my business tremendously, having a space where I could bring my clients in. I don't have to go to a Starbucks or something like that anymore.
Exactly.
I don't have to find time to meet with a client somewhere in the middle of the street. Like I could bring them into our space. There you go.
Right.
I could bring them into our space, and it's a professional one, and it makes you look. I think it elevates your brand a whole lot more because you have this you have your own studio. Because when people say, "Hey, do you have a studio we can work out of?" and I'm like, "Yes, I do. I have a studio that we can do work from." And they come in here and they're like, "Man, in here I look like."
Especially the international clients.
Especially the international
we
clients.
didn't know like this exists in the Bahamas.
But you know what you told me? You said, "SL, I don't want to have nothing to do with how this place look. That's your thing.
Yeah.
You ain't get no lip from me. The only thing you wanted to have a say with was the psych,
psych wall.
That's the only thing. Everything else, you were like, just do it.
Yeah. And you blow it out the water.
And I kept asking you, Manny, what you think about this? Manny, what you think? You're like, stop asking me, just do it.
And then until I give you that word, make it premium. Oh my God. When I said make it premium, SL run hot.
Every day, even down to connecting to the Wi-Fi. Like every time like, people come in there like, y'all have the Wi-Fi password? I'm like, no, just scan your phone on the wall.
Man, you
there.
joking. Even to the logo, we had the right side up. SL's like, yeah, I flipping that.
Yeah.
He flipped it, you know what I mean? Once, I think it was KJ who was like, you know what I mean, give you a good idea. And then we flipped that wide and make it more unique, make it like a light stand, if y'all didn't know. Shameless plug though. Y'all could become a member of Freedom too, and all this could be your own too. You know what I mean? Like we have memberships. You know what I mean? You could bring your clients, you know what I mean? You could use.
Today's episode is sponsored by Frame Studios.
So the membership is right there for inspiring creatives and all that. If you don't have guests and all that, you walk right in and everything is yours. You know what I mean? If you pay that membership fee, but look in the website, www.framestudios.com.
We needed like our own music just for that. Here on the podcast today, our episode is sponsored by
real talk. But no, that's facts, and that's how Freedom Studios, and that's how the partnership came about with me and SL. And I appreciate the partnership. I ain't gonna, SL has called me a second wife because I snag him.
Make noise. Nothing but noise
but
all day.
Listen, results. We scare results. You know what I mean? Look at this.
All day. Noise.
Look at that. Everything you see from the set design, from a frame to the everything is SL, his skills and branding and all that. And that's one of the topics we could actually cover in our podcast also. So the podcast, podcast is
let's talk about what the podcast is gonna talk about.
It's gonna talk about everything creative, like especially like how we have the phrase now, the orange community,
orange economy.
I don't feel personally, this is me personally, I don't feel the orange economy is doing justice to what really the creative field is doing. I feel like they focus too much on tourism. That's our number one industry,
like economic
industry. Like it don't need help. I mean, we can transform it. You know what I mean? You always can make something better.
Right.
But you're talking about help.
Yeah.
We want to get people to understand the value of the creatives.
Yeah.
And when we say creatives, even though I'm a cinematographer and he's a photographer, we're talking about the musicians. We're talking about the artists like Alan and
visual artists,
all the visual artists.
artists.
You know what I mean? The graphic artists, the sound designs. You know what I mean? You have a lot of talents. The writers,
dancers, singers, makeup artists, people who in the beauty industry,
people who just speak. All those stuff is a part of the creative industry, and we want to teach people like how do you approach people, pricing, branding, and what to expect, contracting.
Right.
You know what I mean? All those stuff we want to teach you, and plus we
because we don't talk about it, man. We don't talk about it enough. And I was telling a friend of mine the other night that there's a lot of things we can't say on social media because it would come off as unprofessional.
Right.
But this platform gives us a stage where we can now speak about things in a professional way and shed light on, hey, that's not cool doing it that way.
Right.
You could do much more or say it better by saying it or doing it this way. Every single creative, I feel, is going to relate to what we're going to talk about.
Trust me.
Every single one. Even like our post on Instagram today, we did a poll, and the poll said, what are some topics you want to see us talk about?
Right.
And people voted on, so the topics were branding, my price is my price, clients ghosting, and building a brand, imposter syndrome. And so I'm looking at it right now, 38% of people voted for my price is my price. 25% voted for why clients ghost. Another quarter voted on build a brand. And then the remaining percent voted on imposter syndrome, which I think should be number one, but that's just my opinion. So people really want to know The Bahamas, the creative industries have blown up, especially since the pandemic.
Right.
Because now you don't have to physically work in the field.
Right.
You could work from home. Anything that you do, you can do digitally now. And so I think a lot of people birthed their creative businesses being in lockdown. And so I feel like there's a lot of things people don't know. A lot of people who start their business, their creative business, there are things with regards to pricing that they just don't know, how to respond to different clients and how clients approach them. Some
Right.
people don't know how to do that because they haven't been doing it long.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring too, because sometimes it used to frustrate me, but honestly, the normal people wouldn't know. You know what I mean? So they need to be educated, because sometimes people approach me and say, how much for a 30-second video? A 30-second video don't take 30 seconds to make.
Right.
You know, like, but people don't really know. So what I did was try to equate it to a cake. When you go to the bakery and you want a wedding cake, if you just say, how much for a wedding cake? How much tears you want?
Right.
What flavors? How much flavors you want in this one cake? What design you want? So you have to tell them everything you want, and then they fix it the way, you know what I mean, professionally, how it would work. Because sometimes even people don't know what they want, right?
And that client has to okay that cost first before that cake is even baked.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And when someone give you a price for what they think they're worth, don't. I can just put it out there right now.
I feel it. I feel it coming.
Don't run hard. Don't bash that person. Go to someone else.
Yeah.
Like me and I still have a phrase. How many people sell chicken?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't like KFC, go to Popeyes. If you don't like Popeyes, go to Sammy's.
Yeah.
If you don't like Sammy's, go to Bamboo. You know what I mean? Like, but don't bash that person. You know what I mean? Because sometimes what you get is what you pay for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like just be careful with that. But we will be here to teach you all these stuff and help you all have that language also. So you will also know when somebody's giving you a price, you'll be like, you know what? That's a good price. That's a good price.
Price is a big thing when it comes to being a creative entrepreneur. The way we are approached about pricing, as well as the way we price ourselves, or the way we value the work that we do. And I think it's very important as a creative business owner to know where you stand and where the value of your business lies within a particular industry.
Right.
And so you have to know what's the value of what I do based on the market that I'm in.
Right.
And then, Manny, I won't even lie, right? There are people that just have a minimal amount of knowledge about what it takes to be a creative entrepreneur, whether you run the business or whether you're approaching a business.
Right.
And then there are people that are just simply ignorant.
Right.
Like, the people who, well, my cousin only is take pictures for $50. Why are you charging me $500? I mean, I don't get it anymore. Thank God, right? I don't get it anymore. But when I first started, that was a big, big thing. Oh, well, Roger is charging me $2 and Timmy is charging me $20. Why are you charging me $2,000 for something? Why are we even having this conversation then?
You shouldn't have.
Why are we having this conversation? So I know the podcast is going to get into so many. We have so much topics that we can.
Some could be
into.
rocky though. I can tell you now.
I know, and we have to be real. We're not going to be insulting, even though in our head we be thinking, oh, this person, oh. But I know what we're going to try to do is try to be informative, in a lighthearted way.
Exactly.
But we're definitely going to inform people, educate people, and entertain people at the same time.
Right. Yeah. We got to entertain them. Like, so soon y'all could be here in this though.
Keep a little money.
Shout out to Dasquay for
shout
giving us that
out.
sound bite. Because why?
Saying little.
Don't
reduce price.
Well, you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
man.
my
So,
goodness.
Guys, we are very excited about this podcast and this new venture that we're going to be in, and we hope that it elevate the creative industry, the true orange community,
Right.
and help even the ones who are already in the field. You know what I mean? To help us build a wall. not Donald Trump, but help us build a wall around our community to know how to price and know how to value each other, know what to do, what to don't do, what to say and what to don't say.
So where can they find us, Manny? Like what we have to do the social media thing. We got to plug our social media channels.
We got to plug in all the time. So guys, we are the podcast
Underscore the podcast on Instagram,
TikTok, and YouTube. Yeah.
So you can find us on that episode. When it's the first episode, I mean, they should be watching it now.
Yeah, but y'all gonna be watching it now. So I don't feel like I need to tell y'all that.
No, we need to tell them now. We need to tell them that.
So guys, sometime we will, have some special guests. Sometime we'll just have average people to hear how they feel about it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna only be from the creative view. It's gonna be from just the normal person who wants something creative to be done. I think
that's super interesting to get the view of a client,
right?
Not the creative,
right?
In a business transaction,
right? So we could have a dialogue and see how that goes.
A conversation. That's what is going to be about. Not MHMM, because someone did ask us that.
Yeah, what does MHMM?
What does MHMM stand for? It's like it doesn't stand for anything. It just means Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
So guys, we will see you on the next one. Your hosts, Emmanuel and SL. Just keep creating. I think that went well.
That was cool. That was cool. Boy.
Cut.
How was that, Storm?